Hello, everyone. We'll just wait a couple minutes for folks to log in. Dave, once the numbers are steady and have stopped climbing, just let me know when we're good to start.
Sounds great. All right, Brent, it looks like our participant numbers have steadied a bit, so I think we're okay to get started here.
Excellent. All right, welcome everybody. We'd love to inform you guys about the skilled trades pathway and the supports available through the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, or OYAP. So all of your high schools are connected with OYAP. So any of you interested in joining the skilled trades, you should absolutely connect with guidance and co-op, who will give you lots of information about OYAP in your specific school and boards. But the program, again, is province-wide. So what we're going to be sharing with you today is applicable to you. I'm based out of Ottawa, so I'm with the Ottawa Catholic School Board. My colleague, Brett Jewett, will hopefully be able to join us shortly. He's online, but having some audio issues. So I'll cover for him until he's able to connect properly. Thank you to Dave Hubbard, who's moderating things. He's our counterpart at the Ottawa Public Board, OEAP recruiter as well. So he's got lots of expertise to share. He's going to be responding to questions in the chat as we're going, and we'll be moderating some of those questions at the end so that we can respond to any requests you have. So please do feel free to communicate throughout this presentation, and we'll answer the burning questions that are left at the end. So yeah, I'll get right to it. So OYAP is a high school program. So again, Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program that allows students to try and test out a variety of apprentice-based careers. So if there's anything related to the skilled trades, it's probably a career that you can apprentice under. Right. And we'll talk about. Oh, you're with us. Welcome. All right. Okay, so awesome. Brett Jewett's here. I'll just finish this slide and then you jump in after this. Sound good? So OYAP is generally for grade 11 and 12 students, depending on your age. So to be eligible for OYAP, you need to have a minimum of 14 credits in high school. Okay, so that's one thing that your age may depend on there. You got to get those 14 credits. It doesn't matter what those credits are in. It doesn't have to be the compulsory credits like the English and science, etc., that you have to take every year. It can be any 14 credits to be eligible for OEAP. For almost all of the trades, you need to be 16 years of age. So that's a provincial requirement for safety on the job site. So any job that has any element of risk, those spots are going to be restricted to 16 years of age. But there are a handful of trades that may be more desk work, etc., that you are allowed to do starting at age 15. So anything I haven't covered there, Mr. Jewett?
Good. Yeah. Next one.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So I guess with OEAP anyways, lots of choices. Brent will go into and look at that chart afterwards, divided into the 4 sectors, as you can see. I mean, it could be anyone from maybe the more prevailing ones that you think of, like construction, automotive, machinist, but there's also some ones that you might not have thought of before. So there's just so many. You might go into to see your co-op teacher and decide on a career path. Information like a computer technologist would be another one that you might think of and think, oh, it's not really a skilled trade. But then if you look on that list, it would be on there. So there's so many to choose from, and the benefits from being an OEAP are amazing. So if you have a chance to join co-op and it's one of those 144 skilled trades, then this is definitely the route you want to go.
So here is the list of all of these skilled trades you can apprenticeship under that are recognized by the province of Ontario. So it's quite an extensive list. There's 144 trades represented here. They categorize them by 4 different sectors. So you got the motive power sector, service, construction, and industrial. And again, you're going to see the ones that we all think about when we are talking about the skilled trades. General carpenter, electrician, chef, etc. So, but there are so many different ones that you can take the apprenticeship pathway for. So child and youth worker is a trade that you can apprentice under, and the province is desperate for those positions. So there's so many opportunities available. You have things like horse grooming is a trade that you can apprentice under. We have special apprenticeship opportunities for Indigenous identifying people as well. So we've got native clothing and crafts artisan in the service sector. You've got native residential construction worker in the construction sector as well. So if you do identify as an Indigenous person, there are trades that may be interesting to you that are specialized. So I encourage all of you go down to guidance or your co-op office. Most of them should have a similar poster to this or some materials that you guys could scan through to get an idea of all the trades. You can also access these posters through the OEAP Pajot portal. So oeappajot.com will take you to all kinds of materials and information that we're covering today as well. So I encourage you all to do that. So also on here, you've got some indicators. You've got the maple leaf that indicates it's a red seal program. So red seal trades are you graduate through levels after years of experience and different testing certifications to earn your red seal. A red seal is equivalent to a university master's degree. So it's a big deal. If you meet a red seal tradesperson in any trade, they should earn your respect because they're the top of their trades. Once you receive a red seal in a trade, that means you're allowed to take apprentices under you. So you can now mentor people in that trade. So again, equivalent to a university's master's degree, big deal. You'll also see the red or the green triangle trades there. So those are indicating that it's a designated compulsory trade. That means it's regulated and certified by our province. So usually those are the high risk things that you want to make sure people know what they're doing and they all have common training so that there's no injuries or accidents that happen due to their work. So you have, of course, like the engineers, the electricians, the HVAC folks that are dealing with gas and explosive items. We also have trades like hairstylists because of the dangerous chemicals that they're using, plus sharp objects close to people's bodies. The risks are very high. So it is a designated compulsory trade. So really interesting list to look at. I encourage all of you to go and explore this on your free time. And if you find something that you're interested in, I highly encourage you to explore that.
And don't feel like you need to memorize that list, or if you go and see your guidance counselor and they're not sure as well. I get emails a few times a month from students from around the school board that want to learn more about the skilled trades, and the people that they're working with maybe don't know as much. You can go online and just type in 144 skilled trades. It'll take you to a website that shows not only those skilled trades, but the things you need to consider. So how many hours you'll need to be able to get your level 1. Is this a red seal trade, and all information like that. And as well, your guidance counselors and co-op teachers probably should have a booklet at the school that, again, they can go through. You could pick up, I want to know more about general carpentry, and it'll explain all that information as well. So in OEAP, there's 2 designations. You can be an OEAP participant and OEAP registered. OEAP participant is generally for students, and it's often grade 11s, but it doesn't have to be, is generally a student that just wants to try out a skilled trade. It means they don't know what they want to do for sure yet. Maybe they have a friend that's in automotive or a parent that's in construction, and they want to try out that trade. So they're in OEAP as a participant. They're trying it out. They're seeing what what the benefits, what they might like or dislike, because it's great to be able to see kind of that stuff in high school before you're out and paying for it on your own. In post-secondary potentially. And then grade 12 is often for registered students. If you know in grade 11 that you want to be a plumber, there's no reason why you can't be a registered student in grade 11. And then in grade 12, you want to do that same thing again. You want to be a plumber, you do that again in grade 12. And what happens is, if you're registered, it means you're now collecting your hours towards your apprenticeship. So generally the pathway for skilled trade students would be, you graduate high school, you start working on a job, we'll pick plumber again, and you do that. Generally, a lot of trades are around 1,000 hours they would need to be able to get their level 1. So you'd work there for a few years, and then you'd apply to Algonquin. Maybe you don't get in the first try, but this could take 2 to 4 years to be able to become to be able to get your level 1 outside of high school. Our goal for you is to try to get your level 1 while you're in high school. So Brent, maybe if you want to go to the next slide, I guess. And what that means is you're getting your post-secondary education paid for you while you're in high school, and you don't have to wait the 2 to 4 years on your own. So getting that level 1 in high school should be your goal if you want to get into the trades. Now you have your post-secondary done, and not only that, but you're on the pay grid as well, which Brent will talk about in a minute. And you're earning, instead of being paid as a general laborer, you're making real money out of high school. And if you are in high school and you're registered, that means you're collecting those hours towards that level 1. So you can get up to your level 2 earlier as well, because you've got those hours that you need towards that. So registering, level 1 is really important, but registering as well, if you are certain that's the trade you want to get into, is a really good idea. Because in grade 10, if you did a half-day co-op, you could get 220 hours. And then in grade 11, grade 11, and then in grade 12, if you did a full day co-op, you could get another 440 hours. So that would be 660 hours towards your 1,000 or so hours already done in high school.
Okay, why does this matter in the long run? On top of all the many wonderful things Mr. Jewett just mentioned, in many of the trades, your pay is tied to the levels. So it's in everyone's best interest to progress through their levels of apprenticeship as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're leaving money on the table for someone else to get. So these are some numbers, and again, they're probably a couple of years old now. So these numbers are lower than they are currently, but it gives you a good idea of how wages are tied to the different levels. So this is Local 93, the Carpenters Union that's in the Ottawa region, and the Interior Systems Union is Local 2041. And there's also Local 93 manages the flooring union as well. So 3 different trades, all represented under one union. So this is just public information that anyone can go and check whatever your local union's name is. You can go on search and see what the wages are for different unionized trades in your area. But it just gives a good idea of the breakdown. So a first-year apprentice would be walking in making $21.50 an hour. Okay, so once they pass their level 1, they're making $28.58. Okay, so again, these numbers are low compared to where they actually are currently, but it's a significant hourly pay jump to progress through your levels. You'll see 3rd years, 4th years, everything's jumping by significant amounts. When you receive your red seal, you're considered what's called a journey person. So you'll see the journey person's rate for carpentry in our area there. So it's significantly higher than a first-year apprentice. So each level requires a certain amount of work hours, like Mr. Jewett said. So these aren't levels that you can jump through one after another quickly. You're required to do 1,000+ work hours between each level before you're even allowed to apply for a level 1 spot or any level spot. And those seats and opportunities are very limited. Okay, you're going to be competing with people across your region to get access to those seats. So you want to complete your levels as quick as you can and apply as fast as you can so that you can get the most money as soon as you can. It's in your best interest. Now, wages are a great way to influence people to go into the trades because it's hard to find careers that are higher paying than any of these trades right now. But I want you to look at the different amounts of money for journey people here because your wages don't stop there. Okay, that's you would earn as a red seal in any of these trades. But there are still opportunities for advancement beyond that. Again, most tradespeople don't stay on the tools their whole life. They will advance to other things. They can become estimators, contractors, consultants. They can work for material supply companies. There's so many foremen, superintendents. All of these things are even more money on top of these very high wages that you see. So opportunities are pretty much limitless in most of the trades. So I encourage all of you to start looking into this, because if you want to own a house in your lifetime without inheriting one, this is the pathway to go on. So
can I add, Brent,
yeah.
sorry, as well, to go back to that slide, maybe, I don't know how interactive we're able to be, but does anyone know how much minimum wage is it all right now? Are people able to write that down, or can anyone put up their hand and say it, or?
They can't speak, but they can type.
No, okay, all right, that's fine. So minimum wage is $18 an hour, around that anyways. I think I'm rounding up. And then does anyone know how to figure out how much money you'd make a year at all? Maybe you can shout it out to your teacher if you're in your classroom. So if you looked at a journey person, $43.97 an hour, a little tip for you. All you do is take that amount and multiply it by 2. So this was $44 back then. It's probably closer to 45 right now. So if you took 45 and you multiplied it by 2, that's how much money you'd make a year as a journey person. Okay, so this would be $90,000 as a journey person. But as Brent said, it doesn't stop there. You can grow in that field. And it also, this would be, you know, your start. Every year you're making more money in that trade as well. You also don't need to stay. If you did construction craft work, or I had a student that I taught a few years ago, and I met him in the summertime, and he started this construction craft worker, but then he had a friend that went into electrical and decided to make that career change as well. You have a skill set that people want around the world. Not only did he make a change in that, he could have traveled out west. There's a lot of incentives out to move out to BC. We were up at mines recently. They're offering a lot of incentives to get people to work up in the mines. You could travel to Europe because you have a skill set that people want around the world. So it doesn't just stop with this. You have so many choices with this career path.
Absolutely. And again, these are wages at regular time. If you're working overtime, it's double time, especially in unionized trades. And here the unions are also contributing to your vacation and holiday pay. So you get paid vacation in these positions, and you're earning a pension that the unions are contributing to. So when you guys are exploring the trades, these are things you should be exploring as well. Do they offer a pension? Okay, what are the benefits offered? And that may influence which direction you go in a trade, whether it's unionized, non-unionized, or may change which trade is more appealing to you. So I encourage you to look at all this stuff. It doesn't mean a lot to you at your age as teenagers, I'm sure. But decisions that you're going to make shortly after high school can have a great impact on your future. So it's good to start asking these questions now. So I want to highlight this, like, what is the difference on someone going on the apprenticeship track compared to someone going on a college or university track? So these are stats, again, a couple years old now. So I think the disparity is even wider. Comparing someone on an apprenticeship track, so a carpenter's apprentice in Ottawa at local 93 wages, compared to someone going in the university pathway. So 4 years at university, their 5th year, they're finally eligible for employment, what that looks like financially. So you'll see here, most people go into debt to go to college, university pathway. It costs you money to learn. And this is the big difference between an apprenticeship pathway, is instead of spending money to learn, you get paid to learn in an apprenticeship, okay? So you're on the job site earning money. The employer gives you time off to go do your level 1. You actually get unemployment, pays you to do your level 1 because you're not on the job site. You can collect unemployment. So you're getting paid to do that. So there's no debt in the apprenticeship pathway at all. It doesn't cost you money to go to school. It's all heavily subsidized. And there's all kinds of different incentives to attract people to go into the trades. So it's not costing you money, okay? You're earning money to learn. Where on the other pathways, college, university, it's definitely going to cost you a lot of money. And again, it's going to depend. Are you moving away from home, outside of your family's home? The costs of debt can balloon exponentially if you're not careful. But year 1 of your apprenticeship, you're going to make a little under $50,000. You got a bit of tools that you're going to have to purchase, some initial startups, but again, it's heavily subsidized, lots of grants available to cover tool costs initially. And you get a bursary at the end of doing your levels as well. So you can make up for those costs. Where someone on the bachelor track, they're paying the bank to go to school. Year two, again, you continue to make more money, especially if you go up your apprenticeship levels. Now your wages increase significantly. Year three, same thing. Year four, an apprentice should have $250,000 that they've earned. Okay, so that goes a long way. Where a fourth year university student is in debt $28,000. Okay, so look at the people in the classroom around you right now. Some of you will be heavily in debt, and that's not to take anything away from those pathways. Okay, they're essential as well, and apprenticeship is not for everyone. But in your lifestyle, there's going to be a significant difference in 5 years for those of you who are in grade 12 that go on the apprenticeship pathway compared to a university pathway. Okay. Year five, those university grads are now in entry-level positions, but I can tell you from experience, graduating with a university degree opens doors for sure, but it does not open high wage doors. You still are someone who's considered inexperienced. Yes, you've got a great education that opens doors for you, but you're inexperienced. So you're at an entry-level job, probably not making much more than minimum wage when you exit university, where someone who's on an apprentice pathway is making a significant wage shortly after exiting high school. Okay, so here's another visual that sort of highlights that university pathway, significant time commitment, and average student debt. Again, this is from 2019, so these have ballooned even higher than these numbers. You're going to be over $30,000 in debt. College pathway, similar time commitment. You're going to be over $25,000 in debt for the average student. Where apprenticeship, there is no debt. Okay, so the cost that you'll accumulate in your apprenticeship will be covered by most of the grants that are available to you, plus your earning money.
So right now in society, I think a lot of parents, a lot of people believe that if you want to be successful, you need to go to university. The next pathway might be college. You're maybe not as smart. And then, if you don't do as well in high school, then we'll just push you into the skilled trades. We're here to tell you that's not the way it is. That's not true. We want the best. We want the best and the brightest joining the skilled trades. There's a lot of money to be made in this. And there are guaranteed jobs out of high school for these students that are willing to work hard. When we go see people, when we go see unions and employers, the number one thing they say is they just want people that are willing to work hard. You don't need to be an expert in carpentry right out of high school. They'll teach you that. They just want people that are going to show up on time and are ready to work hard. And if you're someone that is able to do that, then the skilled trades pathway is for you. So look into, when you're in high school, signing that registered training agreement, being a registered OEAP student as early as possible, getting your level 1 when you're in high school as early as possible, and then you're saving years off your life, and you're making so much money earlier in your life compared to all the other people. As Brent had said earlier, you could have made $250,000 after 4 or 5 years of working where your friends are in debt. This is the people we meet that are out working these jobs are very smart, and they're very good at their jobs. You cannot design a building and work in a building and do all the things that they do without being smart and being very skilled. So please do not think that university is the be-all end-all and that's where you're going to make the money, because a lot of people are making a lot of money in the skilled trades. In my neighborhood alone, which is pretty well, I have elevator operators, I have automotive, I have construction, and I have an HVAC person. The HVAC person, his wife doesn't work. He makes more money than probably everyone in their neighborhood. He chooses his own hours. They just put in a swimming pool this summer. He's making a lot of money in this career. So you can as well in the skilled trades.
We meet more and more tradespeople who initially went on the university pathway. Some of them may have graduated, some of them may have decided it wasn't that for them earlier, and then went into the skilled trades just because they might have been drawn by the money, but most of them were drawn by a passion for creating things, making stuff happen, and like having a tangible thing that they helped create has a real satisfaction to it. So those of you who are on the academic pathway, you should absolutely consider apprenticeship as a great opportunity for you. Those with academic minds may go on a different route than others and may become entrepreneurs, etc. The skilled trades absolutely supports that mindset as well. So don't let anyone sway you if this is appealing to you. It's important that we change, especially parent mindsets about the skilled trades being a dirty, brutal work. Those days are over. Okay, we have so many regulations in place from the province that like you're not allowed to lift more than 55 pounds on a job site, no matter what the job is. So we have machines that do the heavy lifting now. So the toll it takes on its body, on your body, is much less than it was 30, 40 years ago. That may have given the trades a reputation that it doesn't deserve today. So technology is absolutely essential in the trades. The trades are developing and evolving year after year as well. So the hard work is getting easier, and the ability to do more with less is growing as well. So don't let the job scare you off either without going and checking it out for yourself. So that's where we want you to try the trade out as a participant, so you actually get an understanding of what it's like on these job sites, and we can start to dispel some of these myths about the trade that are from long ago and don't belong here today.
I've done a lot of presentations where people say, you know, my brother, my sister, they went off to post-secondary school. They, you know, took business, whatever the class might have been in university, and then failed out after a year or two. And then they decided, because they didn't have a job, like, well, maybe I'll try the skilled trades now. What we're suggesting to you is maybe cut out that middle person. You don't need to go to university to be successful. Again, you could do skilled trades in high school and then continue that out of high school and have a very rewarding career without paying for all that time you spent at university that didn't lead to anything.
Thank you. I want to highlight a program specific to our board, but it might trigger many other of you to go ask some questions at your local school boards and see if there's something similar available to you. So at Ottawa Catholic, we've got a new program called the Elite Skilled Trades Academy. And again, the naming of this is intentional. We don't want the cast-offs that don't belong in a classroom being sent into the trades. Those are not the right people that are committed, hardworking, and will succeed in the trades. So we want the best and the brightest. So we've established the OCSB's Elite Skilled Trades Academy in our board. So the idea is that we're going to streamline apprenticeship for students. We'll have a one-stop shop where students can get answers. But the main point of the academy is to try to secure more level 1 seats for students. As we mentioned, all the highlights of getting a level 1 opportunity and increased wages and jumping through your levels faster, those opportunities are quite limited. Okay, the seats are typically controlled by colleges in your area, and the level 1 seats are funded through the Ministry of Labor, and they're very expensive. So a seat for level 1 apprenticeship training is approximately $4,500 per student. It's like a year's tuition at a college. So if you get an opportunity for a level 1 seat, seize that opportunity. It is such an advantage, and it's, again, the cost savings, being able to do that in high school and jump the queue is unprecedented. You're never going to get an opportunity like that again. So jump on that. So the point of these academies that are popping up across the province are try to get more level 1 opportunities for students. But most boards are also trying to get you as much bang for your buck as possible. So typically you'll get an advanced construction tech credit in whatever trade that you're in, whether it's carpentry or masonry. There are specific courses in high school that you can take specific to those trades as well. You'll usually get a dual credit if it's a program that's connected with a college. So you get high school credits and college credits at the same time, and you get an extra credit on your transcript. So if you weren't successful in a course earlier and you need to make up that credit, you can do that through dual credit programs with no extra work. You're just getting 2 credits for 1. You'll get co-op credits, of course, but that accelerated OEAP component, the ability to do your level 1 without the required work hours that most apprentices have to do, is such a huge advantage. And most OEAP connected students, if your school has a SHISM program related to that sector, so if you have a construction SHISM, maybe a hairstyling, hospitality and tourism SHISM, whatever it might be, you want to be involved in that SHISM too, because then you get the special diploma at the end, recognition on your resume that helps with jobs. But it also gives you special training and access to trips and things that other non-SHISM students aren't able to get. So again, it just opens more doors for you. So if you are able to join a SHISM program, I encourage you to do that big time. So for students in our board, if you're interested in brick and stone masonry, carpentry, or automotive service technician, we have an avenue to fast track your apprenticeship for that. So we want you to reach out to your guidance counselor or co-op teacher to ask about the Elite Skilled Trades Academy if that's interesting to you. So to wrap up, I want to leave some time for questions. If you guys ever want to get in touch with us about anything related to this, these are our email addresses. And if you're an OCSB student, again, talk to guidance if you want to join the academy. Anything else you want to wrap up with, Mr. Jewett?
Brent, do you have the QR code at all that you would be able to share to for people?
No, I didn't think that was appropriate just because
Okay.
it's the whole province is here. So I'd rather they just go through guidance.
Fair, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Questions at all?
So Dave, yeah, I'll let you jump in here, and if you can let us know what.
Yeah, we've been getting flooded with questions. There's a lot of curiosity and interests about OEAP and the skilled trades here. Some questions that keep recurring, and I think this is more to do for students that are thinking about starting a skilled trade as a graduate as opposed to through the OEAP program in high school. But how do you exactly start or apply for an apprenticeship as a graduate, and how do you succeed in getting taken on as an apprentice?
Yeah, it's a lot harder. And that's why we're really trying to push this to high school students, because there's so many supports available, because it is a complicated thing to navigate on your own. So if you're outside of high school, then you are not eligible for the OEAP program. You have to be a full-time high school student, or at least registered in a high school. So what you need to do is, one, find a job that has a Red Seal journey person that is willing to sign you on as an apprentice. So this is why it's difficult. You need to build a relationship enough for someone to hire you, and then work for them long enough that they trust that you're gonna stick with them, because taking on an apprentice is a big investment for tradespeople. They're investing lots of time and energy and knowledge, and they don't want to lose those apprentices to other employers. So they're not going to be willing to sign most people unless they've worked for them already and built that trusting relationship. So that's where it's really tough. Whereas an OEAP student, your co-op teacher will help find those positions and try to find opportunities with Red Seal journey people so that you can start that apprenticeship journey without all of those barriers. So that's one step. So once you find that employer to register with, which again is the biggest amount of work and challenges to overcome, then you register with the Ministry of Labor. Okay, there's forms that have to be filled out by you and the employer. They get submitted, and until those forms are submitted, none of your hours count. So they can't backdate hours until those forms are signed by the ministry, and the ministry can take a long time to approve those forms as well. Whereas an OYAP student, we're able to backdate hours. If you started a pre-apprenticeship, for example, you're earning those hours and you will be credited those hours at the end. But as an adult journey or as an adult apprentice, you may be missing out on a lot of hours before that paperwork actually gets done and completed. So once you're registered with the ministry and your hours start to accumulate, then you're just working on the job site. So usually it's a year and a half before you accumulate the amount of hours required to be able to do level 1. So once you have that year and a half of work out of the way, then you apply for a level 1 spot. So as I mentioned, it's usually at a college that delivers it, but now there's lots of non-college delivery agents. So unions are sometimes allowed to offer their own level 1, and there's other organizations as well. But you need to apply for those seats, and there's usually a waiting list. So you might be waiting years to get that opportunity to do your level 1. And again, you're missing out on those high wages as you wait. So this is why it's a massive advantage to join this pathway while you're in high school. You get to skip all of those requirements, and you have the support of your OYAP recruiter in your board and your co-op teacher and your guidance counselor, and I'm sure lots of other people supporting you around them. So I really encourage you, if this is of interest to you right now, be proactive about it. Go and talk to guidance and say, hey, I'm really interested in being an apprentice. There's still time if you're in grade 12 to adjust your schedule for second semester to make that journey happen sooner rather than later. If you're in grade 11, then things are golden. You are still on schedule to make stuff happen, but you still have to go have that conversation with guidance ASAP, because they're probably going to want to get you in a half-day co-op next semester if you're not already. So I hope that covers the majority of that question. It's a big one, so I took some time on that one. But yeah, what's next on the list?
That was great. And you also answered some of the recurring questions we're having from some students about how can I get into the cooperative education program in order to start that OYAP, right? So that would be through course selection, as you mentioned. And please reach out to your guidance counselors and co-op teachers and have those conversations.
Your schedule, still time to change them, right? So if this is of interest, it's in your best interest to go and push for those changes to happen.
Yeah. A great question we're getting here, a couple of them actually are what if you don't have the skills yet to get your foot in the door at starting an apprenticeship? What can you do to build those skills and set yourself up for success?
Yeah, if you're in high school right now, I mean, you could try to take a tech course that's at your high school that might be related to that trade. But remember, the number one skill set that an employer wants is not to be great with the tape measure. It's not to be understand how to use that skill saw. It's that you are willing to show up on time and that you're ready to work and learn. That's all they want. You don't have to have those prerequisites and skill sets to be able to do this. Let your guidance counselor know early that this is the career path. This is the skilled trades pathway that you want to go on. Sign up for co-op as early as you can, and then voice your interest in the pathway, whether it's automotive, manufacturing, construction, hairstyling, whatever it is, and then they can set you up on those placements so you can go and you can try it out.
Amazing. So I think the only last question, and we kind of touched on this already, but how do I ensure I'm moving towards becoming a red seal and make sure I'm the most qualified I can be in this pathway?
So yeah, just being proactive about it. So one is, like, you're probably going to be level 1 if you're lucky, while you're in high school. So you're going to be navigating the level 2, level 3 Red Seal on your own as an adult tradesperson. So asking lots of questions while you're an OEAP student is of benefit to you as well, so that you understand how the process works. So once you're on your own as an apprentice, you need to be making sure that your employer is submitting your apprenticeship hours regularly. And you need to make sure you're keeping an accurate record of that yourself, so that those two numbers match. Because again, you can't do your levels until you have your required hours. But the short answer to getting your level, your Red Seal, is progressing through your levels as quickly as is possible. So you got to pass your level 1 test, your level 2 test, your level 3 test in most trades before you write your Red Seal exam. Okay. And as I said, this is a master's degree level test. So this is not, all of the levels are not things you can just coast through. They require serious studying and good studying habits to be able to retain the information. We've got 16 students right now doing their level 1 program over the next 8 weeks in carpentry. And it's taught like you know nothing about carpentry. So you're starting fresh day 1 in a level 1 test. They tell you all about all the basic equipment, all the basic components of carpentry, like you knew nothing, even though these students have had years of experience on the job site already. So as Mr. Jewett mentioned, knowledge isn't important. Okay, work ethic is, and study habits are too, because the tests are no joke. As much as it's level 1 is covering the basic components of carpentry, there's a lot of math involved, angles, measurements, conversions from metric to imperial. All of these things you're being tested on regularly. Most students do not pass their level 1. Okay, because they don't take it as seriously as needed. So in our academy, we're trying to build those extra supports in so that students are successful in their level 1 at a young age, but it is not something you can coast through. So you got to take it seriously and put the time that's required to learn as much as you can in the short time you have in your level 1.
Amazing. So I think that wraps up our session. We've been given a strict 11:15 cutoff time. So Brett, thank you so much for delivering this messaging today and answering students' questions about skilled trades and the opportunities that are available in both high school and beyond. And if students have any other questions that we didn't get to today, just please make sure you're following up with your guidance counselor and your co-op teachers within your schools.
Thank you, Dave. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I just think it's a really important message to hear.
Thanks, everyone. All the best. I hope many of you end up as apprentices and journey people down the road.
Awesome. Take care, everyone.
Cheers.